Recently, as I've been thinking a lot, I'm actually coming to realize how hard the battles that I won actually are. I mean, I knew I struggled a lot. It was a huge time process. But now I'm slowly getting into more and more of that realizations as I continue, as I see the demons that I was fighting, the problems. I see them surfacing again. Lust is, it's not necessarily a bad thing, obviously. The desire of women, the desire of sex and intimacy. But creations are made in such a perfect way to tap into the desires and to suck up our energy and time. Anyone who's ever watched porn would know this, who's ever masturbated would know this. And I slowly got over that phase. I slowly took up the control of my own mind. But even now, as I'm going through puberty and I'm slowly approaching my sexual peak, I see myself like it's very easy for stuff on the internet to hook me if there's a picture of a good looking woman in it. And these things, along with just the stimulated ways of the internet, it's very hard to go into that level of like monk mode deep work, because you feel productive even in that sessions of work where you're going through Google and doing some productive stuff. You feel productive, but in the end you know the results could have been actually like 2 to 3 times more than what it is right now. Your ability to focus, your time, your energy, it just gets sucked up. And it's not just the time. If you spend 5 to 10 seconds looking at a picture of a naked girl and until you orgasmed or fabbed, the cost of that is not just that 10 seconds. It is the cost of the mental state, is the cost of the productivity that would have followed. The cost of that 10 seconds could have literally been hours of work. That's where I find myself having that weak link. As I see these substances that I consume by modern society, I can see how potent they actually are and how I need to be able to speak to people to help them change themselves, to help them fight these battles, to end up actually winning these battles of their own mind. And this also plays into the other thing, which is in terms of lust. It is basically a desire to expand, our desire for more, our desire to go out to dominate, to do all these great things, to like expand, to dominate, because that expansion that we seek, it could be in terms of expansion and growth. We seek it in terms of money, in terms of power, in terms of status, in terms of women. And that expansion is what this is for. And I just heard people talk about it. I just heard and the thing is, we all seek it in installments like this, and this is all doing it unconscious. Like, I don't know how much of that is legit. Okay, after this, what I just said, what I'm gonna say right now is like, and then they could say that yoga and the art of the yogic practice is doing this expansion consciously, instead of having it in installments of money and sex and power, doing it consciously and then expanding and dissolving the boundaries of existence. Again, it could be just a way to sell a course that people used or something, but whatever preceded that argument of the yogic practice actually makes sense. Our desire for women, our desire for money, our desire for growth, it all comes from the desire to expand and grow, to have a higher degree of influence and impact. But whatever it is that you want to grow in, let's say, And I recently also in a podcast I saw this idea of that this goes back to Hindu things. We do, as humans, we do have the desire for more sex, more money, more intimacy, like all of that desires. And you can, this also aligns with some of the stuff that Way of the Superior Man says, which is you can go out and grow in these desires, grow using these desires, become better, have more, and gain and satisfy these desires, as long as in the process of satisfying them, number one, you stick to your values. And connecting this to the Hinduism concept, you stick to your dharma. You do what's right, you act to your duty, and you never ever let these desires take control of you while you are going out and fulfilling it. And the second thing is, and Hinduism describes this as moksha or something, and something similar in the Way of the Superior Man. It feels like use the feminine as a slingshot through appearance. And let me tell you what it means. It's just like, it's not the end goal in and of itself. The money and the women, all of that, it's not, you don't want that beautiful face, you don't just want the money. What you want is that expansion. And so like they tell you to, even when pursuing that, even when fulfilling that, ask you're supposed to, I'm guessing it's like this, you're supposed to feel through it, feel through the feminine energy, because when you're having sex, to feel through it means, as this is my best understanding of the Way of the Superior Man, to feel through it, to feel your desire to dissolve and serve and dominate and expand into the feminine, your desire to serve the world and to serve your work, to feel through what it truly is, which is not just the money or the women, but what is the underlying thing we are trying to fulfill with the money and the woman, which is our desire to expand. Good, and how much is what I'm saying is like purely based on science and fact, I don't know. How much is like the yogic practice of this true, that also I'm not sure, but it kind of makes sense. And partially part of this is, as sometimes maybe you will have to focus on women, and then the whole Sigma advice is like, don't focus on women, bro, I'm just going to focus on myself. And the people who are like very very true to that advice, that women are just a distraction, blah 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 blah. One, they don't have game, they are bad at talking to women, all that stuff. And the more important thing is, they would have had bad experiences with women. They are not that high value, as like they don't have a high sexual market value, and then they watch their crush getting dated by another person, like when another man fucks his dream woman, and that like level of dissatisfaction. And this is just used as copium to, instead of facing it directly, facing those desire to get more women directly, he copes for his anxiety by looking at these Sigma videos and being like, I need to focus on myself, I need to go in monk mode. Who do you think will grow more? The one who's like seriously into self-improvement, doing all the self-improvement activities, and the one who's doing that along with speaking to women, along with engaging in the so-called distractions that take away from the productivity. The second person is going to grow a lot more, is going to experience a greater sense of growth as an individual. And he'll also, like when talking to new people, his ability to talk to people will improve. He'll have better social skills. That is important. And imagine, instead of going the indirect way to the women, which may also work, what if he just speaks it? He goes through his phase where he's focusing with women. And even if he goes the indirect route, it leads to insecurities, bro. then it's like the woman, I don't have the ability to pull women inherently. I only have the ability to women because I went and acquired the physique, acquired the looks, acquired the money, acquired the power. But without this, I'm nothing. That level of insecurity builds up in yourself. Is that what you want? Is it what you feel like you want in your life? And the way of the superior man, again with the pursuit of more, in the same topic we are, I'm just like putting out many pillars that hopefully will support the one topic I'm presenting to you, that you can choose to pick apart and give your feedback in the comments if you want. And another thing which I want to tell you is, the way of the superior man, he talks in terms of like to control lust and then to handle lust effectively. He talks in terms of energies. The old like I don't believe in any of that stuff, but I'll tell you what he says. He tells like, you have a lot of sexual energy within you, and when you look at a woman and that stuff inspires you, or some of you, maybe you look at a man or someone in between. When you look at a woman and she inspires the fantasies in you, or if you're comfortable enough, your dick gets hard. What he's trying to tell is that the sexual energy is focused, concentrated in your head and in your dick. And you have to use your breathing as a way to let that energy flow throughout your body until it's just a buff that you can go out and use in your work. You can go out and use in the other thing. And it also connects with the idea of like no-fap as the dopamine detox. Like no-fap is good anyways. It's like necessary. No-fap, no masturbation, no porn. It's necessary because of the dopamine detox point of view, because you don't want that pleasures ruining your life, because you need to get back control of your mind. But another benefit kind of aspect of it is that sexual energy, that energy that you have above your manhood, I guess, let me say, when you don't release it by masturbating, because this is the way he puts it, when you don't release that sexual energy by masturbating, then you are able to put that energy into work, whereas the one who's like faps daily, releases that energy, he won't have as much as energy to put into his own growth. And this like sort of spirituality kind of stuff there's a connection that I'm seeing it with science. Like Andrew Huberman talks about this. The opposite of testosterone is not estrogen. The opposite of drive and motivation, that's not estrogen, that's a thing called prolactin. Prolactin is like satisfaction and all that stuff, while testosterone is like motivation and drive. Dopamine is also like motivation and in that aspect. When you masturbate and you orgasm, there's like the prolactin is released, which is basically gives you that sense of satisfaction, but that satisfaction is false. You think your body thinks you fulfill the thing of spreading your seed and reproducing, and actually that's nothing. You're just faking it. You're just clicking on the button of stimulation, and it's just gonna end up fucking with your mind, fucking with your body so much. I just wanted a lot of time to think. I needed some stuff to think about it, to connect with this kind of higher, more spiritual kind of bases and mindsets for us to look at life. And I've talked about this before, I guess. The purpose layers, as the way of the Superman discusses this. As you work on a goal, fulfill it, then after you fulfill it, after a point it will get dissolved, and then you'll enter a period of not knowing what the hell to do until you stumble upon the other goal, fulfill it. It's a nice way to look at life until you reach and with all these layers you have your core purpose in the middle, and that core purpose, to unravel that, you need to dissolve the other layers first. That is a good way to look at that, but that model does have some disadvantages. One is, you don't always work at a singular goal at a time. One of the goals will have the highest priority, of course, but there will also be the other things that you don't want to lose track of. And I still want to make progress. If my main focus is on business right now, I still want to make progress on the YouTube channel. I still want to make progress with business. And the way he describes it, to linearly dedicate yourself to one goal, that may not be the most efficient way of doing things. Because contributing everything to business, that there are like a few deep work stuff that you can do. And after that, you can fill up your day with the shallow work of that task, or you can do the deep work of another task. And the most efficient way would be to have more than one goal that you're working on at a current time. Pick that number will vary for person to person, but that idea of singularly focusing on a goal, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody to be able to do that. And another discrepancy that I see with the model is the goal purpose may not actually exist. Sure, as the layers will get deeper and deeper, you will end up finding more and more purposeful layers, more and more purposeful purposes. But you can't say that there's a core purpose, because even what you may first stumble onto the core purpose, if you spend enough of your time and energy and you actually manage to dissolve that layer, you'll go into the next layer. It's just going to happen. But a good thing, I'm using too much buts in this video. A good thing that I saw in that model is it explains a lot of way we live our life. At first, the outermost layer, it will be the basic necessities. For if one of your basic necessities is not fulfilled, the other things you can't just get into, like purposeful meditations, all that stuff. You can't get into that. So first, like your food, water, sanitation, all that stuff, and then sex. And the basic necessities of human thing, like intimacy and all is that. The basic sex, one of the people, he puts that as one of the most basic levels of necessities. And that's why you have to maybe dissolve that layer of going out and searching for a woman, going out and becoming a playboy, becoming a fuckboy, until some of people can go out and they can develop themselves, find a high quality woman, settle with her, and still stick to his values of not like going to polygamy, just sticking onto that monogamy. But some people, and I think the second one will be more suitable for me, because in the other version, if I go through that version of not playing with women, playing as in would never, at least from now on, I don't think I've ever done it. My values are against playing with the feelings of a woman. But what I mean is, if I go through the path of completely avoiding dating until I find the highest quality woman that I want to settle with, and I settle with her, I would be tempted to cheat on her. It goes against my values, but the temptation to cheat will be a lot higher, because before committing to a girl, I went to my and I've satisfied the desire for like sex, love and intimacy. If I went and satisfied that a little bit while going out, having fun, dating women, and maybe even going to like fuckboy phase, I still stick to my ethics in the person. Again, when you're pursuing the more thing, you still stick to the dharma, to the values. While still sticking to my values, I go out and I pursue many women, and I end up getting the woman that. And if I commit to a woman and I stick with one woman after that, I'm going to be a lot more loyal, and that relationship is going to be a lot better. And when I'm thinking about it, and my values will change, what I want from the dating world will change. In terms of polygamy, I'm literally thinking right now, if I can date multiple women, and I will, without lying that I'm dating multiple women, I can be open to them that I'm dating multiple women, because lying, that's a form of weakness. If you want to date like multiple women, you should be truthful about it. You stick to your character with it. If I can do that, and all of them that I date will be loyal to me despite that, I would take that option. I'm being raw and unfiltered with you. A lot of people will say, no. I'm just telling you. I can admit that to myself. And maybe after that, my values will change and it will be like, maybe I just want one woman. I want to stick with her. I want to build a family. That desire is also there. And whatever thing that your values that you have right now, it may not be your core values. Even for most people, it's going to be like going into the playboy. I want sex. I want that thing until they settle down and they find a woman, and then they go into monogamy. They like go and build a family. That stuff. And some people is like okay, and then they advise everyone to that the family life, that the meaningful relationship that you build with a woman, that's good. And then some people actually wanna go with monogamy, finding one woman, finding quality woman and sticking with her. But even if yours is not like the fuckboy and you want to have a deep meaningful relationship with only one woman, or something like that, something that sounds good, even still that may not be your core values. Your core values may be something polygamy, maybe something this, could be anything, because what you are right now, we are consuming so much that our values are dictated by the stuff that we see. And as Hamza Ahmed said this, and I'm debating on that idea, the more that if we go onto a mountain, if we go onto all these journeys where we are introspective with ourselves, where we're just alone with our thoughts and we're thinking, our values in life will become clearer and the steps that we need to take will become clearer. But the argument to that could be what the stuff that we consume does show us what values we are sticking for. If we like consume content, and then I think it should be somewhat, you already have a set of good ethical values of what could be better from the life that you lived, from the stuff that you consumed. And as you go and sit alone in your own thoughts, those things that you actually value will become clearer. I think you should incorporate something of those two to end up finding what you actually value. This has been a long conversation. It has been one that I wanted to make for a long time. This has been in my mind for a long time. And I hope this has been really helpful for you. As you begin to think about these levels, I mean, this is not directly related to my self-improvement stuff. This is more of a like higher level view on this stuff. But I still hope it can help you so much. And I hope that this video played a part in my current purpose layer, which a part of that layer is inspiring people and helping them to live the lives that they actually want to live. I'm rooting for you. Take action.